How a woman reacts when she realizes you lost interest. Let me tell you something that'll rattle a lot of guys. You don't fully know a woman until you stop chasing her. The moment she feels your energy shift, when you stop texting first, stop asking if she ate, stop validating her beauty like it's your full-time job, something wild happens. She panics. Not outwardly, not in the dramatic Hollywood sense, but subtly, strategically, and sometimes viciously. You see, most men think women leave because the man wasn't good enough. Wrong. Women often pull away because they think you're too invested, too available, too predictable. They crave emotional tension, the feeling that they're not quite sure where they stand with you. That uncertainty, it's addictive. So what happens when you flip the script? When she senses you're no longer orbiting her like a moon around her ego, she reacts. Sometimes with curiosity, sometimes with revenge, sometimes with sudden affection. But make no mistake, when a woman realizes you've mentally checked out, the power dynamic flips instantly. This video is not about games. It's about power, self-respect, masculine polarity, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how women react when the guy they were once so comfortable having wrapped around their finger suddenly stops caring. You ready to see what really goes on behind the smile? Let's get into it. 1. She gets jealous fast. When a woman feels you've lost interest, one of her first emotional responses is jealousy, and not the cute, protective kind. We're talking insecure, panicked jealousy that she tries hard to mask with attitude, sarcasm, or even manipulation. You see, a woman who once felt in control now senses that you're slipping out of her grip. That emotional leash she once had around your neck, it's gone. And the scary part for her isn't that you're leaving, it's that you're not reacting. That silence, that emotional detachment becomes deafening. And the first thing she assumes is there must be someone else, even if there isn't. So, what does she do? She starts watching your social media like a hawk. She notices if you like someone's photo, she'll ask indirect questions. Oh, is she your type? Or you seem different lately. Are you seeing someone? But it's not curiosity. It's territorial panic disguised as small talk. Her ego is under attack. The guy who once chased her stopped. That alone is enough to trigger a competitive switch in her. Suddenly, she doesn't want you to be with someone else, even if she was acting like she didn't want you at all. And here's the kicker. Many men see this as interest and fall right back into her hands. Don't. Jealousy is not always love. It's often insecurity dressed as attention. Learn to spot the difference. 1. You stop texting her first. A week goes by. Out of nowhere, she reacts to an old Instagram story of yours with a flirty emoji, one you posted days ago. That's not affection. That's a test. She's checking if she still has emotional control. 2. She blames you for everything. When a woman realizes you've lost interest and she can't handle the shift in power, one of the fastest defense mechanisms she turns to is blame. Suddenly, everything is your fault. You're emotionally unavailable. You never cared to begin with. You led her on. You changed. You gave mixed signals. It doesn't matter if you were consistent, honest, or even distant from day one. She will rewrite the script in her head where she's the wounded party and you're the villain. Why? Because it's easier for her ego to accept a story where she was done wrong than to face the hard truth. You just stopped caring. This blame game is really about control. If she can make you feel guilty, she might be able to reel you back in. If she paints you as the bad guy, she gives herself permission to lash out emotionally without accountability. And don't be surprised if she starts talking to friends behind your back, painting you as toxic or cold. It's all part of the strategy. Make you doubt yourself, question your actions, and maybe even come running back to prove her wrong. Don't fall for it. When a woman blames you for her emotional discomfort, especially after you've pulled back, it's rarely about healing. It's about trying to manipulate your guilt into becoming attraction again. And if you cave, she wins temporarily. Then the cycle repeats. 1, you stop making effort. You're polite, not rude, just distant. She texts, "Wow, I guess ghosting is easier than being honest now, huh?" You didn't ghost. You just stopped chasing. But now she wants to make you the villain to justify her emotional reaction. 3, she becomes hypersexual. Here's something most men won't see coming. When you lose interest, some women will try to pull you back in, not with emotions, but with sex appeal. And I'm not just talking about flirting. I'm talking about the full-on, I'm suddenly a sex goddess now energy. Thirst traps, bold compliments, seductive texts, all from the same woman who once took hours to reply to your messages. Why does this happen? Simple. Attention is power, and when she feels that power slipping, she turns to the one weapon she knows most men can't resist: sex. Now let's be real. Most guys fall for this. They think, wow, she must really want me now. But it's rarely about desire. It's about control. She's not suddenly in love. She's not emotionally invested again. She's just trying to wake up the part of you that once chased her, the part of you that saw her as this untouchable prize. And nothing triggers that quicker than physical attraction. She'll start dressing more provocative around you. She'll randomly compliment your body or drop suggestive comments that she never made before. You might even notice she starts posting more revealing pictures online, not for the world, but for you. She wants you to see it. She wants to remind you of what you're missing. But here's the truth most men never realize. When a woman gets hypersexual after sensing your detachment, it's not always a sign of real interest. Sometimes it's pure ego panic. She doesn't want you. She wants to be wanted again. And if you take the bait, she knows she still has you wrapped. So ask yourself, is she seducing you or testing if she still owns you? 4, she tries to make you jealous. When a woman realizes you're no longer emotionally chasing her, one of the oldest tricks in the book is this: make you feel how she feels unwanted. So what does she do? She tries to spark jealousy. Suddenly, she's hanging out with guys she once claimed were just friends. She's uploading pictures with captions like "good vibes" only next to random dudes. She's tagging herself at parties, dinners, trips, and conveniently making it known that she's not alone. And here's the brutal truth. She's not doing it for her. She's doing it for you. She's trying to get a reaction, a message, a comment, a question, something that proves she still has emotional influence over you. And this is where most men fail. They take the bait. They get emotional. They start chasing again. Wake up, man. You have to understand jealousy is a mirror. When she tries to make you jealous, she's really exposing her own fear of being replaced. It's not confidence. It's desperation dressed up in filters and flirty captions. And here's where you need to check yourself. If seeing her with another man instantly makes you spiral, you were never truly detached to begin with. You were pretending. You were emotionally holding your breath, waiting for her to come back. That's weakness, not masculinity. Real masculine energy doesn't chase, doesn't compete, and sure as hell doesn't fall for cheap attention games. You don't win by reacting. You win by maintaining your position, calm, unbothered, and focused on yourself. So next time she tries to trigger jealousy, remember, you're not being tested for love. You're being tested for control, and how you respond tells her everything. 5, she suddenly values you. This one confuses a lot of men, and that's exactly why it works. Right when you stop showing interest, the same woman who was distant, distracted, or not ready for anything serious, suddenly starts treating you like you're irreplaceable. Out of nowhere, she's praising your consistency, talking about your potential, and even hinting at how good you'd be in a relationship. Don't get it twisted. She didn't just realize your worth, she realized your absence. There's a huge difference. When a woman truly values a man, she shows it when he's present, not after he checks out. But when her attention source disappears, that emotional gap creates panic. And instead of owning that panic, she reframes it as a sudden revelation. Wow, you were such a good guy. I just didn't see it back then. Yeah, right. What she's really doing is pulling on your emotional strings. She's appealing to your need to feel appreciated, and she knows exactly how to do it. Most men, especially the ones who've been neglected for a while, fall hard for this phase. They think, finally, she gets it. But she doesn't. She's reacting, not evolving. This newfound appreciation often disappears the second you start showing interest again. That's when she returns to her old patterns. Distant, distracted, bored. Why? Because it was never about you. It was about the void you left. Here's the truth. Your value doesn't increase when you pull away. It's just that her supply of control decreases. And in the absence of control, she'll say anything to regain it. Don't confuse emotional panic with genuine growth. A woman who truly values you won't need your silence to see your worth. Remember that. 6. She turns cold overnight. One of the most confusing and strategic reactions a woman will have when she realizes you've lost interest is this. She shuts down emotionally fast. No more emojis, no more playfulness, no more I miss you energy. Just flat, dry responses or worse, complete silence. It's not because she's moved on. It's because she's trying to flip the script before you do. She wants you to feel what she's feeling. That emotional uncertainty, that awkward silence, that inner voice asking, what changed? But here's the truth. This sudden coldness isn't strength, it's defense. She senses that you're slipping away, and instead of chasing or showing vulnerability, she tries to beat you to the emotional finish line. She wants to protect her ego by making it look like she stopped caring before you did. It's a silent power play, and most men don't see it coming. And this is where a lot of guys panic. They start thinking they did something wrong. They try to check in, re-explain themselves, or rekindle a dying connection. They don't realize they're walking straight into a trap. Because the moment you react to her coldness, you're back under her emotional frame. Don't fall for it. Cold behavior after you've pulled back isn't maturity. It's strategy. It's a calculated attempt to shift emotional leverage. If she truly didn't care, she wouldn't suddenly change. She wouldn't need to act cold. She'd just be indifferent. But icy silence that comes right after you stop chasing, that's not apathy. That's a reaction. And your job isn't to warm her up again. It's to stay grounded, stay calm, let her feel the distance without rescuing her from it. That's when the truth reveals itself. 7. She uses closure as bait. Here's one of the most underestimated tactics women use when they realize you're no longer emotionally available. They ask for closure. Sounds innocent, right? Mature even. But let's be honest. If it was really about closure, she wouldn't suddenly want it after you stop chasing. Can we talk? I just want clarity. I need to understand what happened. No, she doesn't. What she really wants is reconnection disguised as resolution. The timing gives it away every time. Where was the need for closure when you were texting consistently? Where was the conversation when you were putting in effort? Now that you've gone quiet, now it's urgent. Men, listen closely. Closure is often bait. It's a clever way to pull you back into an emotional conversation, re-establish contact, and reopen the window where she once held power. And guess what happens when she gets it? She either becomes cold again, acts like nothing happened, or disappears entirely. Why? Because it was never about healing. It was about checking if she could still summon your attention on command. This tactic works because men are wired to solve things. When a woman says, "I need closure," most men interpret it as a chance to be the good guy, to make peace, to walk away with honor. But that's not what's happening here. You're not solving anything. You're stepping back into her frame. You're proving that even after detachment, she can still control the emotional outcome. You don't need closure when you have clarity. And if you've walked away after seeing her true behavior, then trust what you saw. Don't reopen doors just because someone knocks on them with emotional language. Stay grounded, stay silent, and most importantly, stay out. Conclusion. Here's the hard truth most men don't want to hear. A woman's love is often strongest when she feels she might lose you, not when she actually has you. Read that again. It's not always about who you are. It's about how present or absent your energy is. The second she senses she can't fully access you, that's when the chase begins. That's when the emotions hit. That's when the realizations start flooding in. So what does that tell you? It tells you that if your love, your time, your attention are always available, they become invisible. The real game, it's not about being toxic. It's about being unavailable to manipulation. Being a man who doesn't need to be validated to feel powerful. The man who doesn't need a woman to choose him because he's already chosen himself. Fellas, I want to hear from you. Have you seen these reactions in real life? What happened when you pulled back? Drop your story in the comments. I read everything, and I'll personally reach out to some of you. Let's build something real here. Manto Man, we're not just talking. We're waking up. Here's the hard truth most men don't want to hear. A woman's love is often strongest when she feels she might lose you, not when she actually has you. Read that again. It's not always about who you are. It's about how present or absent your energy is. The second she senses she can't fully access you, that's when the chase begins. That's when the emotions hit. That's when the realizations start flooding in. So, what does that tell you? It tells you that if your love, your time, your attention are always available, they become invisible. The real game, it's not about being toxic. It's about being unavailable to manipulation. Being a man who doesn't need to be validated to feel powerful. The man who doesn't need a woman to choose him because he's already chosen himself. Fellas, I want to hear from you. Have you seen these reactions in real life? What happened when you pulled back? Drop your story in the comments. I read everything, and I'll personally reach out to some of you. Let's build something real here. Manto Man, we're not just talking. We're waking up.